Shia LaBeouf has been going viral lately for some controversy with Olivia Wilde over her upcoming movie Don't Worry Darling. This is just the latest controversy in what has been a wild 10 years for Shia LaBeouf, filled with many ups and downs and various allegations. However, I'll touch more on this latest issue later on in the video. For now, I wanted to focus on a recent statement Shia made about his award-winning film from 2020, Honey Boy. If you're not familiar with Honey Boy, it was a movie written by Shia LaBeouf, which he also starred in. It was a personal story documenting his life as a child star and the abuse he received from his father, implying that a lot of the issues he has now as an adult is because of the PTSD from growing up with an abusive father. This movie premiered at Sundance Film Festival and ended up winning the festival in its entirety, creating a lot of Oscar buzz and shooting Shia LaBeouf back into Hollywood stardom and in a way reviving his career completely. However, the movie may not have been as personal as it might have seemed. Shia LaBeouf recently appeared on Jon Bernthal's podcast, Real Ones, in which he admitted that he fabricated a lot of that story. Which is fine as it's just a movie, however, much of the marketing behind the film implied that it was really personal to Shia, and that it was a real story of how he was treated by his father. And Shia admits to this, saying that he was trying to manipulate the narrative in his favour, and get back to being a top actor in Hollywood. He went on to say that much of that movie was inspired completely by his ego, and was an attempt to change the narrative of people despising him, and turn it into people empathizing with him because of the abuse he received as a child. But what makes this all worse is that Shia said his father actually never abused him. He discusses a scene in the movie where his father gives him cigarettes as an award, but he admits that in real life his father only hit him one time ever, and it was because he was caught with cigarettes. Shia explains that his father did have addiction issues, but never took it out on him, and was nothing but a loving and caring father towards him. When the movie initially opened to great reviews, Shia said it made him feel like he was some sort of master manipulator, and that he felt as though he could flip anything into his favour. Now, this may seem really ugly, and when I first heard him say this, it definitely left a sour taste in my mouth for sure. But it's what Shia says next that made me start to support him. He explained that after going to rehab in early 2021, he realised he could never make amends for what he had done to his father, tarnishing his name and also alienating a lot of other people in his life. So he made the decision to drop his agent and start to focus not on the movie industry, but rather being a professional good guy. He said he knows he has to dedicate the rest of his life to making amends, which is the absolute least he can do. Now, the reason this makes me happy and makes me want to support him is that we can all make mistakes. Now, while Shia's were a lot bigger than many mistakes other people make, he can't go back and rewrite history. But what he can do is everything in his power to change. To me, this is what life is really about. It's how you learn from mistakes and from the past and actively change them. It's about growth, and while I'm 100% against what Shia did to his father and the way he abused others in his life, I'm always going to be 100% in support of growth. Because what's the point of having an entire life and never changing? It's the reason I don't hold anybody hostage to mistakes they made in their past. Because I don't know what their life experience was, but I do know that they can change and become a better person. Now, this leads into the recent feud with Olivia Wilde. While I can't know all the details, I can talk about the details which I do know, which is that Olivia Wilde claimed to fire Shia LaBeouf because of the way he acted on set and the way he treated co-star Florence Pugh. But Shia provided real evidence providing that he left the project himself, and that Olivia Wilde actually asked him to return to the project, claiming that this situation should be a wake-up call for Florence Pugh.
I feel like I'm not ready to give up on this yet, and I too am heartbroken, and I want to figure this out. And, you know, I think this might be a bit of a wake-up call for Miss Flo, and I want to know if you're open to giving this a shot with me, with us. If she really commits, if she really...
Now, to me, this isn't right because Olivia Wilde is using Shia's troubled history and reputation in order to help her own public image. Now, those are all the details I do know about the situation, so I can't speak on it any further. But if there is one thing I want to end this video on, is that I think it is super important to never use someone's past against them, and only judge people based on the way they treat you and your own personal experience. Thanks for watching.